Hey everybody, we got another knife review today, and today we're going to be looking at the Spyderco Pacific Salt. I've owned this one for quite a few months here, closing in on probably about 8 to 9 months, so I've definitely really used it, and as you can see kind of by like the wear on that blade, that it's definitely been used a lot for EDC tasks, as well as like quite a bit of outdoor tasks, and quite a bit of other things too. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's go over the pros and the cons of this Spyderco here. So obviously the biggest plus of this knife is the steel being used, which is the H1 steel. As you can see kind of printed here on the blade and everything. It's an absolute great steel with kind of one niche, and it's supposed to be 100% rust resistant or really close to that. And from what I can tell, it is very close to that. I have never had any problems with this rusting, and I have taken this 2 weeks straight in Lake Superior, and many other nights of sailing straight constantly with this in my pocket, being wet. So yeah, I mean, it definitely works fantastic for what it was designed to be as a rust-resistant knife. Another pro of it, I would say, is the overall size and grip of it. It's about the size of a Spyderco Endura, if you know what that is. So it has roughly like a 3.75 blade length, and then like 3.65 cutting edge, or something pretty close to that. I don't know if that's exact specs, but yeah, so I really like the size of it. It works well when you're on a boat, which I use this a lot for, was sailing, and I used it for a week straight on a sailboat on Lake Superior, and it worked great. So definitely a fantastic boat knife or water EDC blade, or if you're going to be by the water. As you can see, it can be closed and opened one hand very easily. Some more pros are the pocket clip. I've had this a lot when sailing, and had it like almost get caught on like ropes and stuff, but it never did. And I feel like with a lot of other clips, especially like the wire clip Spyderco does, it could have got caught and potentially like dragged out of my pocket and potentially lost, and that would have really sucked. But yeah, this is definitely a really nice knife. The price is pretty good on it at right around $80, $80 to $85 most places. But definitely a pretty nice looking blade. Great ergos. I love the thumb. Bigger hole opening for this one, so you can really get it open when your hands are wet and everything. I mean, it glides open really well. And yeah, I mean, the big plus is it's water resistant, or not water resistant, but rust resistant. And that's the huge plus to this knife. And I find that it does it very well. I've had this out so many different days where it's been absolutely soaked. I've had it in salt water. I've had it just do everything. Be in a kitchen for a while. Some cons of this blade is probably the price. Just because you don't get like steel liners or everything, which means it's super light, but at the same time it gives it kind of a cheap feeling because all it has is this FRN. The only good side to this FRN is it actually does its job and it's grippy, which is the biggest plus side of it. It's not bad for the money, I would say. Like, the price is very in between. It really depends what you want in the knife. This is a very specific niche for a blade, being that rust resistant. And I find with all this snow, as you can kind of see in the background, this works great for being a knife for Minnesotans or just any water people, especially by like the oceans or high humidity areas. This would be absolutely fantastic. I've taken this knife apart quite a few times, about like 4 or 5 now, and never seen any signs of rust inside of it or on this back spring, because it is a back lock, or anything in between, or any of the screws. They've all been very clean of rust, and it's great because that just kind of verifies that it really is a rust resistant blade, especially with that steel. Continuing on, It carries great with the pocket clip, and it doesn't like get caught on anything. It's very thin, so it does sit really well in the pocket. The only downside to a Spyderco though is it has this hole, which makes it good for opening, but it also makes it pretty wide, as you can see here, for pocket use. I mean, it does a pretty good job, as you can kind of see, like in the pocket it would do a pretty good job. You know, most of it is off to the side, but it still is a lot to pocket. So I mean, if you don't like really wide knives, this is probably not going to be your thing. Yeah, the steel is good, and the way that it holds its edge really well and stuff like that. But at the same time, this edge can also get worn out and dull kind of quickly, which is kind of a con. I know some have a different way, or different experiences with that, having it wear out a lot faster. I know I used this for a week straight in a kitchen and tore down boxes during that and cut almost all the food prep with this, and it did a fantastic job, but I definitely noticed by the end of the week it was getting dull. So I mean, there's a lot of pros and cons with this blade, but I mean, overall I would like highly recommend it if you're even looking at it. So yeah, this was the Spyderco Pacific Salt. I've used it a whole crap ton for EDC and sailing and different kitchen and so many other tasks, and it's performed great. I absolutely love it. I would recommend it for the price, and it totally does what it says it does. So yeah, I would totally recommend it. It's a great blade. Carried it for a really long time, and it's held up fantastically. So yeah, see you guys later, YouTube, on the next review.